All right, 5 after 5, live on a Monday. Let's hit the books, folks. Alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joey Knish, producer extraordinaire, Zach Phillips. Yes, that did hit the bingo card. I saw that. So there's a point for those of you. There it is right there. Guys, before we talk about the bingo card and maybe some other things as far as signs and whatnot on the show and obviously week 9 of college football, let me remind everybody to hit that subscribe and like button if you are watching this live. And also, Hit the Books is brought to you by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is to use multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Download the app today. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/hitthebooks, or you can hit the link in the description. If you sign up through this page, it does help support the show. Knish, what's happening, man?
You know, just trying to lawyer up and make sure that, this national title's not going to be revoked 5 minutes after we get it. So, making sure everything's good. Hey, decent weekend. Look at who's the new Heisman Chuck. That's the Michigan story that I'm concerned about, baby. The story that's going to line our pockets, not some staffer, trying to pull a Brad Powers and attend all 30 Big Ten games in one weekend here. So decent weekend and looking forward to we're in the home stretch now, baby. The last months of big time games and ready to go.
Yeah, best bets 5 and 6. Oof, didn't run good on obviously the Wisconsin game. Illinois game was rough. There was a stretch there where I thought we were going to lose Minnesota, obviously, too, off that. I texted you, and I was like, this is unbelievable, because there was Pittsburgh, Wake Forest shenanigans happening at the same time.
Yep.
Illinois just blown the lead.
Pulled the trigger on some Pitt with the report. That was legitimately the most tilting game I've watched this year. And I don't usually get, you may think that Joey K gets pretty just the personality. I usually, you've seen so many that Pitt game sent me off the ledge on Saturday night. And then compound it with Illinois and Minnesota 5 minutes later. Joey K was in a rough place for a little bit of an hour there. Thankfully, they called that back, so it was only, one of the, or two of the three, but Narduzzi almost ended it for me.
What do you think of? I thought it was a bad call. I thought he started to slide after, don't you?
He started sliding past the line so that was there, and then there was 6 things that had to happen for Wake Forest to end up winning that game, all in the most ridiculous fashion. And then the punter throws a few dimes down the stretch. That was a rough one.
It was, to say the least. Let's look forward to this week. We did already give out a best bet on the Monday morning show. If you're not watching that, little cross promotion, 7-3. The picks are already this year. Not too shabby. Army was the pick this morning. Your thoughts on that before I forget? Army, we gave it out 9.5. Thought process there was, I think the Army quarterback's going to play this week. I thought they held him out for precautionary reasons last week. Obviously, you're not trotting a guy out there against LSU. UMass, terrible. The market does like UMass. I know they're off a bye, but I don't think they figure out how to stop an option in 2 weeks. I really don't. And this game means something to Army. I mean, their backs are against the wall if they want to make a bowl, and they've absolutely annihilated UMass the last 3 years. So Army for me, power rankings play. I think it closes above 10. Did you have any thoughts there?
Yeah, I think you got a little discount there based on, as you said, little QB projection with Army and them getting shellacked by LSU. I mean, you go from probably the best passing offense in the country to whatever UMass is putting out there. So, I tend to agree with that. And we've talked about it a few times on the show. This is a UMass defense that thought would be, especially early on, like much more they're awful. It's like a complete disaster. So, yeah, I think that is a good buy low there.
One more, and we'll get to the chat. Zach's already got 40 questions started for me, so we got a lot of questions, to say the least. I see somebody was in at 10 in the morning. I love it. One other game I got to talk about, Penn State, Ohio State. Initial impressions of that one. To me, look, I mean, Ohio State's defense, I think, is real. It's the best one they've had since at least 2019. I'm still, Kyle McCord to me still leaves a lot to be desired. It does help when you're throwing to the best wide receiver in college football. Maybe the best, now that Bowers is hurt, the best skill position player than outside the quarterback in college football, Marvin Harrison. But I don't know. I thought the bigger takeaway for me was, man, Penn State had to step up in class, couldn't get the job done. Drew Alar, that stuff on the spring, man. That initial, I'm like, this guy ain't accurate enough against a good defense. That was stuff that we saw in the spring game. What'd you see?
No, I'm with you. I mean, Alar, I was talking about to somebody, like, you just can't have a statue quarterback in college football anymore if he's not going to be, extremely accurate or really give you some pop in there. And Eller doesn't give you anything. It doesn't give you any of that Sean Clifford, what they had last year. Yeah. So it's basically on him to complete. And Ohio State's defense has been real deal, even without Denzel Burke. I thought that would be more. I thought he's been their best defensive player all the year. He doesn't play. Abuka doesn't get it. So yeah, no, that was a clutch victory for Ohio State, and now what's lining up as an 11-0 Battle of the Titans showdown when they go to Michigan. But I thought Bud Elliott had, a friend of the show, kind of lines. It's like, if you put Marvin Harrison on Penn State, does that change some of the result? And I don't know if it totally does. I will say, and listen. I was in the heat of the moment. That holding call, which did, like, I think Penn State, that game, I'm not saying they win, but I think it's a last possession type game if they get that defensive touchdown.
Yeah, definitely.
And it allows them to, play a little bit of different stylistically in that. But no, I mean, Ohio State, I think, a couple of their Marvin Harris, Maserati Marv, especially.
Where did that come out of?
Yeah, I don't know, but he was hitting it hard and fast there with the Maserati Marv. I think he was a difference. Just some of those that, they had a couple of skill guys that Penn State doesn't, and that's probably the difference in the game right there.
Yeah, McCord looked shook after that. They showed a close up of his eyes. Oof, he was what? I don't know. Here's what my biggest takeaway is. Michigan looks pretty good against both those teams.
I agree.
I know Michigan hasn't played anybody, but I don't know. You can only control how you play once the schedule's set, and Michigan's looking the part, to say the least. What you think of that last touchdown by the Wolverines?
I had a little, I was hoping for them to go for two and miss. So a little middle on the total there. So I don't mind them scoring, but it was hope. But hey, listen, there was a couple of dirty hits from Michigan State, which again, I'm not gonna cry foul, but there was a couple of hits in that game, and then hey, punch it in, baby. I don't mind it. Run it up. Jimbo's always been one that isn't afraid to punch those late ones in. So yeah, I know our friend the tailgate tent, that last TD hurt.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a brutal beat. Just complete domination in that game, though. I thought Michigan State's offense. You could see it in a few drives, reminiscent of the Michigan-Minnesota game, where it's like they're not going to be able to move the football all game. There's just nothing that's going to be able to work. And so there's a couple of other results from the week. We'll call them are the wheels going to fall off team. Michigan State being one.
Yeah.
USC being another. They get bullied. There's some, something seems a little wrong with the brew there too. In that, in just their, I don't know, whatever is the culture thing or and Texas now having to go. Not that Quinn Ewers was playing elite football, but we'll have to see what they've got at the backup QB position. And Washington, I tell you what, Arizona State gets a little bit of more positive variance. They win that game. If they have a kicker, if they don't throw a 90-yard pick six, if they get any of those fourth downs, they should have probably won that game outright. So I don't know. Penix, you had mentioned it last week, and we're like, is he going to? Yeah, he's definitely not 100%. He is definitely, and again, that could all change, in a week. Maybe he gets a week, but he did not look right. And that team goes from a playoff contender to a very normal team with a mid Michael Penix.
I lied. One more. What's your thoughts on North Carolina this week?
I thought we were gonna get through the intro without it. I see some in the chat.
Yeah.
I can't. I tell you what. Right before kickoff, I was like, I think I kind of like, Virginia. They would steam it. I'm gonna take a little 24.5, and then throughout the game, it was just. I mean, it wasn't fluky either. Like that Gene Chizik defense, which I thought was going to look like that all year, finally showed up. Rocco. Nobody listen to me on the ACC anymore. I tell you what, I'm about to, Florida State national champs, and they'll probably lose outright this week. So, I don't know if anybody. Don't let me talk about the ACC. Listen to anything I say in the ACC for the rest of the season.
Florida State national champs. You know what that means? Santino Marucci time. Went for it.
Marucci again 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that wasn't fluky. It wasn't like Virginia's +5 in turnovers. Just we're the better team. Unbelievable. It's a 24-point dog. That was funny. I did laugh at you. When you mentioned North Carolina. It's just typical Mac Brown shit, to be honest with you, at least when he's been at North Carolina. So we'll see if they can regroup this week. Let's get to it. I've delayed it enough. Let's get to the chat. RW Fan 23, who was in at 10 in the morning. Please discuss Kentucky, Tennessee, Utah, Oregon. Mr. Puppy Chow is on Oregon. I'm terrified to lay 6.5 in Rice Eccles. Saw a little bit of movement today on both. I agree with both road favorites, believe it or not. I have bet Tennessee. I have bet Oregon. When I lay 7 now with Oregon, no. I still think that's the right side, though, in that game. I do still like Tennessee -3.5. Not the greatest spot for Tennessee, but I just think Kentucky got exposed in the Missouri game. Did you take part in those movements today?
I agree. I was able to grab a little bit of the Oregon. I agree with that, and I know people Rice. It's where quarterbacks go to die, and the Bo Nix road history. There's going to be a lot of narratives in this game this week. I just think Oregon is substantially the better team. They're not going to be able to do what they did against USC to an Oregon team that's much better on both lines. Bo Nix has played fine. He hasn't had any of these big meltdowns. The Washington game, he was fine. And I think they're a much better, more complete team. So I agree with that one. The other one, I'm gonna be honest there. And I thought what Tennessee did in the first half, sticking around was pretty impressive, but they really, and again, they had a little bit of an offensive line. Their offensive line, paper thin. They had some line go out, and when that kind of went down, when they can't run the ball. So I'm actually, I think, we might have a little head-to-head here. I'm leaning a little bit the other way on the Big Blue, the Kentucky side. But
all right, we'll do a head-to-head. Let's do a head-to-head. 3.5.
Early head-to-head, baby. Give me the Big Blue.
Okay, head-to-head. There we go. Start off the week. I love it. We haven't had too many. We need more of that. Let's keep it moving. RW Fan again. Early in the chat, please discuss Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, and talk me out of betting Pitt money line. That's an intriguing move this week. Up to 20. What say you? Are you part of this Notre Dame love fest?
I didn't actually. No, I didn't. So I didn't get in there. I thought the number. I was hoping to get it to come. I don't know why. Yeah, I would have expected this, but I agree with the move up.
Going to 21.
I think I would say so. I don't think listen. I get the I don't know his name Veller, the Pittsburgh QB. He was better than Jerkovich. I'll give him that. Offense still Vader, extremely. I don't know. He spells it like it's from Montreal.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like French, but it's Vayer.
Yeah, he was better than Jerkovich. I still think this Pittsburgh team is generally horrible. Absolutely inexcusable loss versus Wake Forest, and it's a Notre Dame team that I think will. I mean, Wake Forest with Santino Ferrucci or whoever the hell they had a quarterback there, who never completed a pass in his life, is handing it off and just running down like that last drive. They get on the 10-yard line, go down 90 yards, just running the ball down Pitt's throat. I think Notre Dame will be able to do that. I think it's a good spot for ND. Wouldn't surprise me to see them run them out here. And I know you're not always Mr. Glass half full with Notre Dame, but I
go
think
head-to-head here.
Are you going another head-to-head, baby?
Yeah, let's go ahead. What number are we using? I'm okay with 20.
All
I'll
right,
take
let's
Pitt
go.
plus
Let's go
20.
20, baby. Little head-to-head
All
at
right.
20.
Head-to-head, Pitt plus 20. There we go. Love it. Some action to start off the show. Fabulous one, even without Gabbard. Is Miami of Ohio plus 7 worth a look at Ohio? I'm not there. I think the team's, Gabbard's out. I know the backup played all last year, the freshman Smith. This is their 9th straight week of playing. I think the team's out of gas after the Toledo game. I'm on Ohio. What say you?
I agree with you. And it's just one of those. And I know, and Gabbert wasn't, fantastic over the weekend by any means, but I'm with you. It feels like the tank now. It could be empty. You downgrade at quarterback. You're going against what would be probably now the best. I mean, I think Ohio's better than Toledo in terms of just teams in the MAC. And I know we were looking for, Miami, Ohio last week. Competitive game, kind of made a raging comeback. Gabbert goes out there. But it's one that I could see the bottom falling out from Miami, Ohio now. And especially going into an Ohio team where their defense has been much better than I thought, even though the offense hasn't been as electric. I'd agree with it. I agree with the move. I'm still okay with an early best bet here at 7. That would probably be the last buy point for me. But I like Ohio.
At 7?
Yeah, I'm okay with it at 7.
Yep. 7, best bet.
That would be, again, like I said, the last buy point there wouldn't go above that, but
agree.
It's a
I
really
made it
tough
8, so yeah.
on a back-to-back here for Miami of Ohio, now losing your quarterback, going against what I think is the best team in the conference. So, yeah.
At least the best defense. I don't know. The offense for Ohio has left a lot to be desired in recent weeks.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. There's actually, if you play at Chris, there's actually still a 6.5 out there, which I just bet. So if you got access to that, I just grabbed a little myself. So yeah, I know why is Curtis Rourke not tearing this conference apart? Hopefully it starts this weekend.
I don't know. Nobody's really tearing it offensively apart. It's been unbelievable. Not fun watches like it was back in college for me. The quarterback play in this conference leaves a little bit to be desired. Offensive play calling too. Fabulous one in the chat. Off the bye. Is Coach Prime and the Buffs now a play versus Chip and UCLA? Saw early movement with the dog. Won my money. I like UCLA here. I speculated. I tweeted it out. I said there's body language issues with Dante Moore. I didn't think he was the best. We talked about it. I don't think he's the best quarterback on the team at the current. They made the switch. They looked the part. I like him this week. I think they killed Colorado. Colorado sucks. And I'll tell you another thing. Colorado's schedule not faring so well. That TCU big upset. TCU sucks. USC, they kept them close. USC stinks. I mean, some of this stuff. I mean, come on now. I go compare to they both played Stanford in their last game. Go look at that. So UCLA for me.
I'm with you. I like that. You know what? I thought, and again, it's one we talked about where Dante Moore, whatever happened to him, I don't know if it's injury, I don't know if it's the way he was playing. I mean, the last 3-4 games, he was miserable and costing them, like some chances to do things in the Pac-12 this year. And I agree, it was a positive. I was a little surprised to see it just based on the retainment of making sure he's going to be around, but at the same time, right. I agree. It was at least a couple point upgrade from Garber from what he showed on the field. And again, I know it's Stanford's defense, but it's not like Colorado defense is going to bring up a lot of. And that seemed like the missing element for UCLA's team this year was at the quarterback position. So yeah, I agree. And Jonathan in the chat, 16.5 out there. If you can grab a 16.5, love it. Still okay. Go a little smaller at 17, but I agree with you. I think UCLA is the side here, and you're getting a little bit of value that they're not factoring in this total QB adjustment, which I think is at least a couple points from where Dante Moore. And again, I'm not telling you Garbers is freaking the Heisman winner, but Moore was terrible. He was costing them games. He was almost costing them Wazoo in a game there. You're like, he was playing really bad football, and I'm good for Chip for having the stones to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they actually beat Utah if they had better quarterback play.
Agreed.
Oregon State game probably to the wire, and Washington State's more comfortable. I mean, when you throw a pick 6 in each of those games, and they were long ones too. It wasn't pick 6. The Utah one was right off the bat. But the other ones where you were in scoring range and he threw it the other way, like 10, 14-point swings. So, I like the move there. we'll revisit that one. There's a lot of Coach Prime love out there in the market. So if that comes back down on Friday's show, that'll be a best bet UCLA. Just letting you guys know. Make sure you're checking out the Friday show. Drunk Driver in the chat. Thoughts on San Jose State, Hawaii. Now, Hawaii's had a couple of misleading losses recently. That normally would have me on Hawaii, but I think San Jose State's being underrated in the market. They played that ridiculously tough schedule to start. I don't know. I like the looks of this team. I mean, they're off back-to-back blowouts. I like the Spartans here. What say you?
Yeah, you know what? We should have, put our money where our mouth was on the show last week, calling the Hawaii, New Mexico Hawaii game. I think both of us were pretty bullish on that move going into Mexico, and then Hawaii gets absolutely trucked versus New Mexico, and their defense is. I mean, not that it was the greatest defense, but I remember early season versus Vanderbilt. You're like, whoa, this defense looks significantly improved. That doesn't look so good against, New Mexico, and then a San Diego State team that just got goose egg at home by Nevada. So yeah, I would lean that way. I don't see any resistance for San Jose State. And a game where Hawaii I think they'll struggle to keep up. It's obviously one that Hawaii on the island is a different level of opponent, but at the same time, I don't think their defense has anything for Cordero and the boys.
Let's revisit this one on Friday because last week, a lot of money on pro Hawaii, a lot of anti-San Jose State money. Last 2 weeks, San Jose State. New Mexico got money against them, and Utah State did. We'll see. 7, it'll be a go on Friday, to say the least. I still would lean that way at 8, and I bet 8. Just let everybody know. Fabulous one. Any thoughts on Purdue at Nebraska? Road Dog, very live. What say you? Yeah, I think it's live here. There was a movement finagling in the market a little bit yesterday, getting at the 3 and then the buyback this morning. So I think Purdue's the right side, definitely. Another one. If we get 3 on Friday, we're going with Purdue. I'm not sure it's going to stick, though. I think I think that 3 that was bought up in the last 24 hours is gone. Did you take part in that this morning?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was people were a little bit of manipulation there, and then I agree with the 3s getting bought. I mean, listen, we were on Northwestern last week, and it was a Nebraska. They have no passing offense, so it's very tough. And if you want to expose Purdue, well, the teams that have exposed them this year are teams that, like Ohio State, have a more dynamic passing offense. I mean, Harburg last week, 8 for 17, 2 picks, and again, they're making chicken salad or whatever they got. They don't have a quarterback on the roster, so it is what it is for Matt Rule in year 1. But I just think I like Ryan Walters. I think he'll be able to scheme something up to kind of stop a very, very limited offense. So yeah, anything if the 3 ever gets back, I think it's good. And another one where Purdue live for sure.
Yeah, probably round robin money line on Friday. Wyatt in the chat, Oklahoma State -8 since he on quit watch after losing 5 straight. I think it's the right side, but I got to be honest with you. This type of game after Gundy's pulled 3 straight outright upsets since he's lost 5 straight, throw him in the trash. This is like a Gundy special where he loses a game like this. So I'm not a part of this one, side or total. Did you bet this one?
No, I didn't get involved either. And again, we've rode a little bit of I know our friend Tensman has some of the Oklahoma State money. This is the number and the point where I think I'm going to get off at the station and let anybody who wants to keep riding go. Laying over a touchdown here, it was just not interesting. And I don't see. I guess I haven't seen a lot of the typical quit factor signs in Cincinnati. I just think it's new year in a step up conference in a year that was kind of a rebuild year for them. They've had a little bad luck too. So, I don't want to lay over a touchdown here.
Arkansas State at ULM, the Sun Belt game of the year. Any leans? Won't be a game of the year bet for me. I don't know. Under for me. Yeah, I'm not wild. I bet the under because my number said so. It wasn't something wild. We're not buying this Ark State quarterback that everybody loves. I don't know.
That one, and you know what? Joey K might have had the parties wrong last week on the show, but the analysis was right because if you got Coastal last week at the 8, the 9, the 9.5, you cashed. If you got Arkansas State at the 10.5, 11.5, you cashed.
Numbers matter.
And yeah, exactly. And you know what? So especially this late in the season, where the market is going to be at its peak efficiency. I think that's something to say. With that said, I didn't take part. I know this one opened up a little higher, got bought down. I have a
It was crazy movement. Arkansas State went to, I think, favorite or pick, then buyback on ULM. But yeah, it opened as high as 4.
Yeah, I would lean that way. I didn't have any action in it, to be honest with you. It's one of those that I'm kind of a little lean to the over on the total, but haven't gotten involved in that one as of yet.
Ryan Hart, thoughts on Tuesday night games, leaning Western Kentucky at +4 at home. Don't take +4. I think you get higher now. I think old Dr. Bob gave out the opposite side there, Liberty. From a statistical aspect, I see that, but I don't know. My numbers actually like Western Kentucky here. I wouldn't enter the market entry. 5 dead number. I think that's more likely to go up than down. So let's wait. There's a lot of anti-Western Kentucky thoughts on there. There's a lot of pro-Liberty, even though they didn't even come close to covering last week against Middle Tennessee. So I'd sit tight on that one, but I like Western Kentucky.
I agree with your marker read there. Kind of in a dead spot now. I like, Liberty at some of the look aheads were even 3 or under 3, but yeah, this is one that, and these midweek games trade a lot of action. So don't be in a hurry if you're looking for Western Kentucky to buy the 5.
Ryan Hart, Wyoming at Boise, sitting at the middling 5. Thoughts on where it closes? You know what? This one I don't know. If I had to guess, Wyoming, but I don't know. I didn't bet this one as far as the side. Did you bet in this one?
No, I haven't gotten involved with it either. A little bit of lean to I know this ticked up a bit, a little lean to the under for me at the 49. I haven't gotten totally involved there yet, but I think the size is kind of another one in a little bit of a dead zone. It would be probably a small lean for Wyoming for me, but not one that I've gotten involved in as of yet. And to be honest, would kind of need a significant move either way to really want to bet it.
Yeah, I mean, Boise's coaching staffs should be on the line here because, I mean, that was a ridiculous way to lose in their last game. They had a bye last week, but Colorado State prior blowing a 20-point lead in the last 5 minutes, just unacceptable. Everyone talked about the Hail Mary. There was 2 Hail Marys on that drive. They had to go the length of the field. They hit one and then they hit another. How does that happen? It's unbelievable. Avalos is not getting any Christmas cards from me. Brian Henning in the chat grabbed New Mexico State +3. Pavia been really good lately. Feel like the wrong team favored here. I lean that way. Where were you at? +3.
Listen, I got the New Mexico team, the New Mexico State team that Joey K's. We got a lot riding on this one for the conference, baby. I lean that way too. I think do you see anything? I think the 3s got bought up. But yeah, I would kind of lean that way too. They've looked a little bit. I think they've looked better than Louisiana Tech, especially recently. And it's a Tech team that I haven't been particularly high on all season. And again, New Mexico didn't start off great, but of late they've been playing much better. I agree. Pavia has been he's stepped it up in class in terms of his performance. So at 2.5, I'm not running to the window there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. This is one that I think you got to wait a little bit closer to game. I would need the full 3 to play it.
Yeah, last year from October 1st on, Pavia was number 1 in the country in QBR. Maybe he's doing the same thing this year. Unbelievable, scrambling and running around. He's something else to watch. Austin M in the chat. A couple question, guys. Any Duke versus Louisville thoughts? Secondly, if a book puts out a bad number, do you double your unit size or just bet your regular unit? I have a book that posted Vandy +30. I don't know. It's a book that's going to throw you out. You don't want to draw too much suspicion. So sometimes if that's the case, I just bet regularly because I've doubled, tripled, quadrupled on some of those. That's a good way to get thrown out on a bad number like that. Thoughts on Duke Louisville? I think Riley Leonard plays. What say you?
Really? You think he does play?
Yeah.
All right. I was kind of, and again,
you don't think he does?
No condition.
He's running around at the end. I mean, they just left him out because they didn't want him to continue to hurt it.
Okay.
You've heard opposite?
No, no, that's not conditional info. I was leaning that he with the re-aggravation, I don't know if he would be able to go. And after so again, that's totally the side there would be totally dependent on what he can. I mean, you saw the backup. He's not ready to play. So It's one if you get Leonard info that he's going to play, take some Duke. If not, I'd be on Louisville. So and the number will react accordingly, I think. So it's just one of those that is a little bit in the we just don't know phase at this moment.
Yeah, and I have no inside info. That was me reading the comments after the game, me watching when he was trying to get back into the game, warming up on the sidelines. I thought, they probably won't throw him back in tonight, but I think he'll go next week. That's just I'm an idiot, so we'll see what happens. We'll know by Friday, to say the least. John Stafford, thoughts on Air Force minus 11.5, Auburn minus 6.5. I bet the Force early. Can't do it now. Auburn, I'm actually on the Mississippi State side. I thought that was that sucks. That got bought today at 7 on Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's the right side. What say you?
I tell you what, I'm not going to be able to get the taste out of my mouth from that Mississippi State Arkansas game that I watched way too much of on Saturday, where both teams were just absolutely miserable. With that said, I don't think Auburn exactly runs and maybe I keep waiting for Hugh to. They just don't have a quarterback. It's not as bad as Nebraska, but it's very similar where they just don't have a quarterback to run that offense that Auburn should be running. I think it'll be much better next year. It's not an area where I really want to lay minus 6.5 though. And I just don't want to. Man, the Mississippi State. No, not that they have a game, but Rodgers. Any idea? You think he's back this week, or was he? What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. The Mike Wright experience is very, very one-dimensional, to put it relative. Yeah. So I think that's one that that's another one where I would need some QB information before I'd want to get involved there.
What about Air Force against Colorado State? Kind of a big rivalry. Air Force is pretty good. That was a shocker. Their quarterback wasn't supposed to play, and then he plays.
I lean that way. Again, I missed the early bye there, but I still lean that. I think Colorado State's defense, it was the classic, even with the military schools trying the new thing, it was your classic military game where 0-0 going to late. But I don't think Colorado State has anything for Air Force in terms of being able to stop the triple. So I would lean that way as well.
Matthew in the chat, thoughts on possible outcomes of the Michigan taping scandal? Could they be disciplined this year, impacting Big Ten and their playoff status? The way the NCAA moves, like molasses, I'd hope not. I don't see anything this year. I said this last week. If anything, this motivates Michigan to just want to. I mean, you saw that last touchdown. They want to put it on teams. I hope they do, to be honest with you. My dad hates Michigan his whole life. He's rooting for Michigan at this point. I asked him, what's your thoughts on it? He's like, I don't know. I thought it was genius to take an ex-military guy that deciphers codes and stuff like that. I love it. Harbaugh goes up in my book doing stuff like that.
I agree. Who cares? Like this, it's all from some like 1990 rule where like the poor schools didn't want to pay to send scouts in person. So I was like, oh, nobody can do it if we can't afford it. Like, what is it's a stupid rule? Like, what do you mean you can't go and scout somebody in person? Also, why don't they put on wear headsets? Why don't they already the coaches have headsets on the sideline? You put the microphone in the QB's helmet and you radio the play like a professional. Instead, we're doing all this like board stuff like it's 1950. It's ridiculous. This is like $100 million TV network deals and stuff. If the Big Ten's got to pay for the Mountain West's helmets, then so be it. But it's just ridiculous that they're even using some of this stuff or that some of these archaic rules. So no, I don't give a damn. And I don't think it's going to affect them this season at all. Maybe somebody tries to take whoever that hates Harbaugh in the NCAA wants to take him to task. But I agree. Chicken, it's one of those things. It's years and years, like the Kansas basketball thing. It's all the FBI was involved. And then 6 years later, it's like, we took away 2 scholarships.
So many things here. Number one, I mentioned this. If I know that you know my signals, kind of type of thing, I would use that. I know that you're using my signals. I would use that against you. And then another thing, I know everyone's too cool for school, but you can use wristbands still. Last I checked. I mean, just put it. I mean, come on.
State game, they were just having the QB2 go over and tell the QB1 the play. He'd run the sideline. They tell him the play, and he'd go back and huddle.
Yeah, so many easy fixes to that. Unbelievable. Fabulous one. One week 9 consolation. No Kent State on the rotation. Amen to that. Holy hell. I even got to the window on Kent State last week. I didn't cash the window. But I unfortunately got to the window and bet those MFers. But they're bad.
They're really.
I think I got them last now. Them and Akron are the whole wagon wheel rivalry. Be two teams dead last. It's unbelievable. Nick Hostetler in the chat. Wisconsin plus 14.5 or Oklahoma State minus 7.5. We talked Oklahoma State, not wild about that one. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not wild about Wisconsin.
No,
against
I'm
the
not
Buckeyes.
wild about it either. And I know, listen, they had a nice comeback win, which obviously screwed us in more ways than some conference features there. Like, but Illinois' best defensive lineman gets called out for targeting. That was big in terms of being able to get them something. I didn't think Locke was really any improvement. I think the stats on paper don't look the worst, but I tend to agree. I think Ohio State kind of rolls them here.
31-10. I would lean Buckeyes. Rick Smith, after watching Middle Tennessee pass all over Liberty and Western Kentucky with the 129 run defense, how can you still not like over 60.5? Western Kentucky Liberty game. Did you bet the total?
I have not bet the total as of yet. That one
opened 65.5. I took an under.
There's been a kind of a stream of under. There's even some 59.5s popping. So I didn't get involved in this total. I will say I think both defenses a little better than I know what you're talking about there with the run defense ranking. Western Kentucky's offense has not been anywhere near what it's been last year. And as you said, Liberty likes to run the ball a lot, kind of some burning clock there. So, again, gun to my head, though, I'm not advocating for the under. It's just one I haven't gotten involved in yet.
Keep it rolling. 1 HP. Any thoughts on Jarrett Guest from Coastal? Spring game got rained out. I love it. You get points for that. So I watched a few throws in garbage time games. Arm looks live, but slow delivery. It's a significant downgrade from what I've seen. Market last year was over a touchdown when they downgraded from Grayson McCall. At least we have that. Grayson McCall's been banged up every year. He's been the quarterback for the last 10 years. So we've seen the market movement. I think he's worth at least a touchdown. Do you agree or disagree with that downgrade?
No, I agree with you. With that said, I think a lot of that is pretty priced down. I mean, obviously.
I'm not advocating Bet Marshall now.
Yeah, like this is one. I mean, Coastal's at least a field goal fave in this game around if McCall's in. With him out, yeah, I think, and it doesn't make me Marshall. If they were playing a different opponent, I think I could get a little bit more behind it. With that said, I'd still small lean that way to Marshall. I think there might not be a number of quarterbacks in the country. Maybe DJ Irons is one we talked about that are worth as much to their team as McCall.
Caleb, superstar, Caleb Williams.
Well, I mean, maybe, yeah, Caleb Williams before
future NFL owner.
Yeah, we might get to see the backup pretty soon if Caleb decides to go get ready for the draft. So,
yeah, we might. Marshall looks kind of out of gas to me, man. It's been a tough stretch for them playing ACC opponents and James Madison might as well be an ACC team the way they play.
That's where, and I agree. That's why I was having a hard time getting, really wanting to jump on the. If there was a better team, better spot, I think I'd be more bullish on just not worrying as much about the rating and going with it. But Marshall's not in that category.
So I'll teach you guys to fish instead of giving you fish. Get on top of the quarterback stuff. The openers don't always have the quarterback stuff priced in appropriately. And the people betting into them are modelers. They don't always have it in. So we'll get to a game, BYU, Texas, where the modelers, the opener was probably correct from Circa. The modelers bet, let's bet Texas. It looks cheap. So that if you just want to be very basic, just look at the quarterback injuries from Saturday. And you get down on some good stuff on Sundays on that one. Not just the openers, but anytime during the day on Sunday. Philip,
your friend of the show.
Was that a mistype or did he mean it? I'm not going to get into it.
Okay, I don't know. I was wondering if you saw that, and I didn't know if it was a typo or just
I'm not. We buried that. I'm not going to comment on any of that stuff. I know Mr. Muscles got involved on it. I'm no comment from me. I'm on the wrong side of 40 now. I'm not going to get into that stuff too much.
And just what like you I guess we it was so late that it's kind of hard to, and against Houston's garbage defense. I haven't run to the window to bet BYU though. I don't. Where are you at on this game? Because I don't. Ewers wasn't playing at a high enough level, and I like Murphy, and so BYU is. I don't like their defense at all, so it's one that I wasn't jumping on the fade train here.
All right. So before I get into it, let me remind everybody we got almost 400 viewers and only 115 likes. You need to help Zach Phillips out. Get some like buttons going there for you guys. Second on this one, this is the game I'm talking about. Circa Open 16. I was like, Ewers is out. They're on top of that. The modelers bet it up to as high as 20.5. I took BYU on that. However,
I knew that. When I saw it pop and flat, I said, I knew that's got the BP stamp written all over.
And took under. They bet the over too, like Ewers was playing. So I took under 53.5. However, let's get the official notice. Ewers is out. Then we take Texas because this BYU team sucks, man. This is the third straight game they're going to be playing a backup quarterback. They are not good, man. And we'll play a little bit BYU. I'm down the road. I'm telling you, I'm going to be anti-BYU game after game after game. They've been so fortunate, and I don't think the team's very good. They didn't play a backup against Cincinnati, but they were clearly outclassed in that game. Played the backup against TCU and got drilled. TCU, you saw what his backup did against Kansas State. And then last week, Texas Tech's third stringer, not even the backup, the third stringer, they're +5 in turnovers. They were outgained in that game significantly, BYU. I don't like BYU. So I think Malik Murphy's fine. I like them in the spring game.
I tend to agree with you. That's where I'm at too. So yeah, Joe, and does Arch get some reps in here or what? So
That'd
yeah, I think Texas will just be able to run all over them, and I'm with you here. Hopefully we get some market movement now. Friday show we can.
Under 17 will be the buy price, so we'll see what ends up happening there. Philip in the chat, Baylor money line versus Iowa State. I hope not. I like Iowa State quite a bit.
Yeah, I saw BP was BP server on Iowa State. I agree with it. I'm not like buying this like Baylor redemption here after 1 week. So no, I'm with you on Iowa State there.
Baylor team's got 3 wins. Man, 2 of them the UCF comeback miracle, and then even the Cincinnati game against the Cincinnati team I don't like. They fortunate that. Fumble return off the kickoff touchdown. I mean, change that play. That one play. Cincinnati win, Baylor loses. What's this line?
Right.
I love the data point comparison. They both just played at Cincinnati. That's their last games, both teams. Couldn't be too disparate. Iowa State crushed Cincinnati in that game. I know. I bet Cincinnati. And then Baylor probably should have lost to Cincinnati. So there you go. And I like Matt Campbell. Probably best served in these types of situations, not with expectations, with no expectations. He's got a young team that's listening to him. They're playing well. Someone in the chat mentioned it before the Cincinnati game, said we'd be wrong. Yeah, they are seeing some things. They're getting some players back. So good on Iowa State there. That's the tout service. Although tout service was pathetic.
No, good call. Yeah, I don't wish we gave him up, but I remember that comment saying that Iowa State was gonna trend. They have.
Yeah, in the trenches. Yeah, and they have. So kudos for if he's still watching. Props for that. MC Hammer in the chat. Does a 1-loss Ole Miss get in the playoffs? Absolutely. If they're the 1-loss SEC champ, they're in. Right?
Yeah. They let's see who they still got on the
Well, they got to go to a little place called Athens, Georgia. So they're not.
So yeah, you can go into Athens and win. Yeah, and then
turn around and beat them again. Yeah, you'd be in the playoffs beating Georgia twice. They're not. I would not buy that ticket. Just put it that way.
That's very that's a North Carolina-ish, if you know what I'm saying.
North Texas Live versus Memphis. I could see that one. That might be in the round robin. I'm not buying Memphis. They played a backup quarterback late scratch last week, and turnovers greatly benefited Memphis in that game. North Texas showed a lot of fight against Tulane. They're a little bit better than I expected the last couple of weeks. I haven't bet the game yet, though. That's one I'll probably revisit late in the week.
I haven't touched on it either. But I'm trending that way as well. I think Memphis is pretty fraudulent. And I agree. At home, to be honest with, I didn't know that you think it gets better in 7.5?
Nope, North Texas, best bet, plus 7.5.
I was
I
like, yeah, I hadn't checked that one on the screen in a minute. I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, 7.5. I'm fine pulling the trigger there.
Yeah, North Texas, best bet. There you go, guys. I did not get to that. I'm kind of mad. Hey, Artucci in the chat. Is Jaden Daniels a legit Heisman threat? I think so. If you want one now.
Let's talk a little Heisman.
Yeah. So we did talk J.J. McCarthy a couple weeks ago. We got on top of that. I think Jaden Daniels is the next major mover because I kind of pains me to say this, but I think they're live, obviously, against Alabama. Alabama can't be messing around and a half on offense against this LSU offense. So I know they're playing the LSU defense and they'll have some success. I just think this LSU offense not getting enough love. I think it might be the best offense in the country, not Washington. So, yeah, I like Jaden Daniels. What say you?
Yeah, I mean,
what can you find out there though, price wise?
Right. It's definitely it's come way down now. But I would agree. I think he probably needs a little. He needs a Washington loss or a Michigan loss, but I think you can make the argument who has been more important to his team than Jaden Daniels this year in terms of their results. So, and I mean, his statistical package is going to look absolutely ridiculous. So if he beats Bama and Texas A&M and then
Georgia, he probably wins the Heisman.
He probably wins it no matter what happens. So yeah, if you're going to win those 3 games, I think you got to give it to him. But again, that's quite a tall ask.
Right. Yeah. And again, the Heisman market, people are jumping all over this. I got to give them credit. I mean, they're jumping like a couple weeks in advance. Last week, I think it was still like 10, 12, 14-1 last week. I'm sure it's not there now. Burt Brownie's in the chat. Minnesota plus 4.5 best bet was quite a ride. Yeah, it was. I mean, I mentioned Knish. I mean, there were some F-bombs because I didn't realize at the time that would be called back. I thought when they went to review, I was like, oh, they reviewed it to see if he stepped out of bounds, and he clearly didn't. What was the Minnesota punt return coverage doing? There was 5 guys there right at the sideline, and they all missed him. What the hell was that? It was ridiculous. All they had to do was push him out of bounds. Ugh,
yeah,
that was rough.
That was in a bad place for a minute before that got all back. And then again, they deserve to win that game. And at Iowa, for the Iowa voodoo magic, which has somehow continued on, they deserve to lose that game. And I will say, Alec Manis, though, woof. I've never seen some guy throw more inaccurate passes consistently than him. So yeah, those are both. I'm glad we got the cover there. Hopefully don't have to back either of those teams again for throughout the rest of the season.
Did you do anything in that ugly game of the week this week being Michigan State, Minnesota?
I didn't. I will say, I think it hit a touchdown, didn't it? It is the fact.
I took a little Sparty at 8.
I was leaning that way.
Can you believe that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And not one of my favorite bets of the week.
I agree. But at a touchdown, I think Minnesota's offenses. So I think if you're getting a Michigan State team that's not completely on the door, dead on the doormat, and I don't even think against Michigan it was like a quit thing. It was they just got steamrolled. So yeah, I'd lean that way at 7 for sure.
Chuck C in the chat. Eastern Michigan plus money on the money line now good enough or need a 3? Need a 3. I kind of think Western Michigan's the side here. I'm anxious to see how the new coach treats the Michigan MAC trophy, which is big for a lot of these people. It is big for Chris Creighton. But Western Michigan impressed me. The only thing I worry about, I'm looking here, both teams actually playing a 9th straight week. Oof. I don't know. Western Michigan to me looks like they got a little bit more juice, but I don't know. Eastern competed with Northern Illinois. Did you bet this one at all?
I took some Western already. I agree with that. They've been playing, and again, as you said, it's been a rough stretch, but both teams on a rough stretch. I think you're getting the better foot. And again, Western was a team not slated to do much. Did not look good, especially the first few weeks of the season. Since they've gotten into MAC play, it's looked a lot better. And some competitive games with Miami of Ohio and Ohio now a huge step down in class. I just think they're better than Eastern Michigan, and you're getting it, close to a pick. So I like the Broncos.
Best bet?
I'm good. No? I'm kind of surprised it hasn't trended up a little bit more. So I agree. There'll probably be Eastern buyers at 3, but at 1.5.
All right, I'm good with that. Western minus 1.5. It's a good bet. Damn, that's a good bet. Okay, crossing. When I'm making notes, I'm crossing out. Well, can't give that one out because you guys, the viewers, will move that line. So, good job by you guys. That's why you should be watching this. Speaking of this, hopefully Grant's still watching. This was at 2:03 when Knish couldn't figure out his microphone. What's new? They sent Knish to film practices now. That's why he's late. That's funny. Arthur back in the chat. Coastal +4, Iowa State -1. We like Iowa State quite a bit. Coastal not so much without McCall. Cressman, I told Knish to relax. Red Wings are crushing it. Michigan #1. Team we didn't mention. Maybe I don't know what happened yesterday, man.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought we'd go through the show. Small speed bump in a long season. So it was it was quite a glass of or a humble pie there. That was ugly. I'm okay with. I was expecting kind of going in expecting a loss, but to lose like that, woof. Todd Monken though, ooh baby, what a hire for the other Harbaugh because he sliced them up. This is as good as Lamar's ever looked. So even dating back to his MVP season, I think passing he's been so Monken was in his bag yesterday, and oof, they put it on us.
Well, AFC is gonna be if they're rolling, that's gonna be something. The AFC playoffs.
Yep.
New Mexico State futures are live. Spammy Sosa in the chat. Yeah, they are. We'll see. Need this one this week.
Yeah, well, I think the big we got at Western Kentucky, I think, coming up after. So it's going to be, I mean, listen, it's going to be tough for them to get there, but it was 50-1, people. That's why, not 2-1. That's why if it was 2-1, we weren't expect. That's why you bet 50-1, so you can have a chance to, win a couple of games here that are going to be, as a short dog to get to the championship. So.
Trip, one of our sharper guys. You guys are all sharp for watching, but Trip, longtime viewer, talking about Guest being a 6-7 point downgrade. Yep, market agrees with that. That would be, even though he's got plenty of experience, it's a significant downgrade. John B in the chat. Arizona +4.5. Buy the 1 point. I do not recommend buying points in college football. Your thoughts on that? Buying points, half points, and whatnot, Knish, a guy that's sharper than myself. And what about Arizona against Oregon State? I bet Oregon State.
Yeah, for almost there's very, very rarely a scenario where buying it makes sense. If you have access to maybe some small places that are lower total that don't charge as much to get you on a 3 to a 7, something like that. There's always one-off scenarios, but by and large, you definitely shouldn't. And you're buying, 3.5 to 4.5, you're going to be paying about 130. So yeah, don't do that. I didn't. I'm kind of actually. I'm leaning that way. I didn't fire yet. I see. It looks like there's some juice 3.5, which might mean 3 is going to get there.
Where are you on the Oregon State side?
Yeah, I would lean that. If it gets there,
yeah, I think we revisit that one on Friday. I think it could come back down. I think. Look, Arizona's been really freaking good, but I just think Oregon State off the bye. This is the type of team that's not going to catch, Oregon State. Arizona's not going to catch Oregon State by surprise so we'll revisit that one. That's a bad sign. Dog barking. Maybe not.
Hit the bingo square.
No favorite in that game with the dog barking.
Cal USC. I see a lot of people asking on Cal. I would caution that USC has gone up against some teams that I think they match up, that can out physical them. Notre Dame, Utah, beat them up in the trenches, run the ball, good defenses. That's kind of not Cal's MO anymore. And you've seen the USC money come in.
What's your thoughts on that? I don't agree with that. I mean, is Arizona State physical? Is Colorado physical? Arizona beat them up. Everybody's beating this team up.
I can't get to, I will say, I'm surprised I can't get to 11. I know. Listen, I don't think the matchup is as advantageous as some of the teams that have beat up Utah, but 11. I'm not there at 11. I can't get to. It would be Cal.
We'll talk that one on Friday. There's a chance I might own that and take Cal and just say I don't know. Cal is. I love Cal. They haven't covered 5 in a row, but it's kind of been like extenuating circumstances there. The Auburn game, they missed some field goals. Oregon State went like 5 for 5 on 4th down against them in high leverage situations. I mean, the Utah game was kind of nip and tuck there until Utah got them late in that game. I don't know. I'm a little surprised USC's taking money. I got to figure out who's behind that, to be honest with you, because I'm surprised. Thoughts on Nicholas in the chat? Thoughts on Kansas plus 10.5? I got some deeper thoughts on this one. I don't think Jalen Daniels is going to play the rest of this year. What say you on that?
That's where, you know what? That's exactly where the comment was going is I just haven't Kansas offense just hasn't been the same without him. And I know Bean has played a lot. And I just it's a team that is so centered around the offense being, pretty alike. Not a team that's going to get, a ton of stops and that. And I know he had some, nice numbers against, Oklahoma State, but a couple of turnovers there. I still think it's a reasonable downgrade.
If anything,
I haven't gotten there.
Oklahoma.
What do you think about this one?
Yeah, if anything, I lean Oklahoma. I think Daniels at the back. See, a back situation is not something that's easy to. I don't know. I don't know if he comes back. I'm
kind of.
I'm not overly whelmed with Oklahoma. My numbers like Oklahoma in this game, so I don't know. Well, another one. We'll hit Friday show on that one, guys. Connor Hartle in the chat. Pitt plus 20.5 or wait for a 21. I don't need the 21. I went against the man, the myth, the legend. I took 20. I said, forget that 20.5. Forget that 21 that'll be there on Friday. Give me Pitt. Pitt is 13-2 to that number against Notre Dame. Notre Dame never blows out Pitt. I don't care if Lou Holtz is there, Johnny Majors. It doesn't matter. Tony Dorsett. Pitt's always been Notre Dame's thorn in their side. We'll see. I don't have a good track record in fading Notre Dame. Jonathan Knish is probably the favorite there. Jonathan, and I don't mean the 20-point favorite. I mean he's favorite to cover. Jonathan Reed in the chat. Michigan over 11.5 wins plus 145. I am not good enough at math to do that one. Obviously, they're going to be favored against Penn State. What about 3-7 against the Buckeyes right now?
Yeah, I've seen some of the look aheads. Even the Penn State one trended up after that, where I think the look ahead is like 4.5. So if you convert those to money lines, add in the Purdue and Maryland games.
Probably better just money line rollover, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the 145 gets you enough to make it worth the while.
Jack Mad, Michigan State plus 7. Yeah, I lean that way. It's tough though. I wouldn't write pizza bet. I bet it, but there's a lot of variance there. It's good in game. You're going to see if Michigan State's ready to play or not. I think immediately. If they are, then you can't be laying 7 with Minnesota's offense. LSU plus 4.5 on the look ahead at Bama. Yeah, my numbers would lean that way. I think I'm closer to 3-ish, 3.5. I have LSU 4 in my power ratings. Now everyone's jumbled up, behind Michigan and Georgia. So there's like only a point or two difference between like 4 and 12. But I have like LSU 4. So I like LSU there. I think they're live. Rice plus 11.5 over 54.5 against Tulane. Rice is a sneaky team in this matchup. I don't know if they're getting priced accordingly. JT Daniels makes them legitimate. They had a phony loss against Connecticut that probably people overreacted to. They went out and just hammered Tulsa. The money was against them last week, and they just crushed them. Tulane's not wowing me, man. Even the game they covered against Memphis, I mean, it took the final 20 minutes for them to squash Memphis like a grape. They're not putting 60-minute efforts in. The UAB game wasn't that great. I don't know. I'm on Rice. Where are you at here? It's kind of a dead spot, though. Is it going up or down?
You know what? I was going to say some of the market, indicators in the past have been pretty pro Tulane, anti-Rice. However, I agree. There's some, even Circus got the Circle leans at 12.
Let's wait.
I could only take. Yeah, we'll wait, but I could only take Rice at this number. I agree.
Yeah, Rice. That might be a Friday bet. We're gonna watch the Friday show, folks. We might come in 10, 12 bets on a portfolio we'll hate. Jeff, who wins the Big Ten West? Oh my God. Have you seen odds on this now? I haven't even bothered to look. I have no idea. It might be different week to week.
Here, let's see. Big Ten West. Zach, if you have access to FanDuel to pull up, they have the updated West division. It's between Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin. When I tell you that I think anybody in this division could lose to anybody in this division, that is 100% true. Like, there's just no I don't. I don't. The answer is I don't know, and I've got like a handful of these teams except for Iowa. So Iowa would be a bad result for me, and I know they've got like the easiest schedule down the road here, but I just think they're freaking terrible. So
yeah, and they're due for some bad luck variants, in my opinion. I hate using the due
dude, like
factor,
a
but
decade overdue. Somehow almost got
yeah,
it again, but I don't. I feel like I don't. I really. I don't.
I have no clue. I mean, I'll have to really analyze it. I don't like, and the thing is, I don't like any of these fucking teams,
I
man.
know.
Oof. I
Like,
hate
there's
them
no
all.
game where you're like,
There's
oh, that.
nothing I like. Oh, Minnesota, they just beat Iowa. I hate Minnesota, and I bet them over their win total. And I might have to fight claw and scratch to get there. Wow. Thank God. You know what the best thing is? This is it. The last year of the Big Ten West.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
to be seen again. It's over with. The top two teams and the new Big Ten next year play for it all. Can't wait for that. Sam Houston State seemed up to date. Thoughts on that move? I'll keep it. This is a phrase for me. I didn't originate it. I forget who told me it. You got to learn how to win before you learn how to cover. They got to learn how to win, man. I'm not laying it. Are you?
Nope. To be honest, I think UTEP's been a little. I'm not going to say resurgent. But and again, New Mexico State result withstanding. But I can't get to the 3.5. So I don't think they didn't. The box score doesn't look as bad as the final versus New Mexico State. I mean, total yardage was it's kind of the back. Oh, this is a tough one. This is a gross game. I don't have hot takes on this one. I can't lay the 3.5 there.
Agree. I have a hard out in 10 minutes, so unfortunately, guys, I won't be able to get to all the questions, but we'll try to hammer these out as quick as possible. Connor, Virginia Tech -2.5. I actually leaned Syracuse in that game, but I don't know. The market loves Virginia Tech. Did you take part in this one?
I think it depends how. And I gotta see. I haven't dug into the Syracuse, their injury situation.
Yeah.
If they got up, like they were down a ton of guys. Are they going to be a little fresher? Get any of those guys back? With that said, Virginia Tech has definitely played better of late. I lean Cuse at the 3, but it's a Friday show one because you need to see where these teams are going to be at in terms of personnel.
It won't be a Friday show, bud, because it's a Thursday game. But that would be
Hey, listen.
Who won last night's game? Yeah, take
We'll
Virginia
discuss
Tech.
the result on Friday then.
I'll say this. I mean, there's been a lot of love on game days on Virginia Tech, so I don't know where that one moves. I think Knish hit the nail on the head. Depends on Syracuse injury report. When I bet Syracuse, I was expecting it to be a little bit better than the last couple of weeks. I thought there'd be a reset for them after playing the 3 toughest teams in the league. That bye week, okay, let's reset for the stretch. That's just my thought process on Dino. Michael in the chat, Kansas State -17 against Houston. Yeah, I bet Kansas State. Did you take part in Kansas State yet?
Having up, but I would definitely lean that way. I think you kind of got the Dana Texas effort, which I was kind of surprised they even hung around in that one.
Oh my God, yeah.
He was a little banged up there until pulling him late.
What'd you think of that 4th and inches spot and then the play call?
Yeah, very interesting. Some very interesting officiating in both sports, NFL and college this weekend. So, but I agree with you. Seems like Kansas State has kind of righted the ship here, running that whatever they got a little 2 QB system going. So yeah, I would lean that way.
Horrific spot. I can't believe that was bad, but just as bad. A 6'5", 250-pound quarterback on 4th and 2 inches, and you throw a pass. Unbelievable. Dana's gonna Dana. I gotta tell you, my goodness. Chuck C in the chat. First game of the week, New Mexico State. Yeah, +3 would be the lean there. We talked about that one. Go back. Thoughts on the 2 Thursday night games? We just hit the Syracuse Virginia Tech game. Georgia State, Georgia Southern. This is a really big game now in the Sun Belt East. Georgia State, pretty impressive win at Louisiana, but short week against a rival. This is a big rivalry game too.
I lean Georgia Southern in this one. Haven't fired yet, but that's the side I think I'm going to be on. You got to take here?
No, not on the side yet. I don't. Good game, honestly. The decent Thursday games. I know most people don't like watching college football, but those two games are.
And both of these teams are still in it for the
Yeah, with
Sun Belt title.
JMU not eligible. Yeah, they're in it. Winner. In fact, the winner would be the favorite, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because I think they'd have the tie break and then the best record. So yeah, both Sun Belt would East. So this could be who's going to the ship.
And I didn't bet either one. Sunbelt futures, unbelievable. Although I think they both are a dog against the South Alabama or Troy, the West winner. Rocco D, any thoughts on FAU and Western Kentucky? FAU, I do not like. I actually like Charlotte in that game. I hated what I saw from FAU. Oh, maybe I'm overreacting because I had FAU big last week, and that was pathetic. Western Kentucky, I lean that way, but Liberty's taking money. FAU, Charlotte, did you? A little bit of Charlotte money today. Were you part of that at +6?
No, I couldn't. And again, Charlotte has just had so many awful offensive performances in a row. I haven't gotten there.
Oh, wow. They took even more. That really came down. Look at that. 4.5 now.
Yeah, no, that's been a steamer. And I didn't get there, and I definitely wouldn't go now.
Texas BYU under 50.5. Yeah, you know what? I lean that way because, I think Ewer's going to be announced out. I think he is way more doubtful than anything. Even the market's reacting now. So under for me there. Run game gets going. Although I think Texas' run game can really get going. That would worry me that you got a TCU BYU situation where they score. They can get close there themselves. But
Agreed.
You got it. That Texas defense has to man up after last week, I would think. Right?
I thought it was. Early in the season, you thought it was a really elite unit, and it's kind of fallen off here in the last month.
Yeah. Georgia, Florida. How about that? An hour into the show, we haven't talked that game. Somebody beat me circa at 13. I hit the push button to bet. Line has changed. I get that all the time now. That was I bet the over, believe it or not. That I thought was wrong. I wouldn't bet it now. I wouldn't bet either side or total. What would you?
Yeah, I don't. Again, it's one of those, obviously the primetime games, but one that I don't have a strong opinion on whatsoever. I think, normally, if you would have told me Georgia 14, the Bowers injury though, and again, maybe not in terms of, ATS points as much, but he was just such a critical part of their offense for the last few weeks that, how's it going to look without him? And can Beck step up and be, he's played reasonably well this year, but, to cover this kind of number and get margin, also just go what it is. Florida's offense, Graham Mertz, has just been better than I thought. So, and again, Georgia hasn't been as elite of a defense or anything. So, yeah, I think probably 14 or better was right on Georgia. 14.5, I'm out now, though.
Eat that in the chat. Is Keen back for Fresno? Questionable this week. If not, I like UNLV plus the points. I kind of lean Fresno State. This might be the game that finally them off a bye, catching UNLV off the dramatic win. I lean Fresno. Where are you at here?
The number definitely indicates that Keen
gonna play.
Yeah, I think it's all right if Keen's if he's not back though. I'd be on UNLV at this price.
How you guys feeling about South Carolina A&M? I don't like either team. I didn't bet the game. I bet South Carolina. I was with Tent. I probably put the mush on Tent. The Tent went like 15-1. The one play was the game I gave out South Carolina where I agreed with them. I just unbelievable. Where are you at here? I can't bet it.
So this is it. And you know what? There's been some deep dive. I was reading just a thread on Twitter about like the games South Carolina and where Rattlers played well. The games are that team doesn't have a great pass rush because the offensive line's been so bad. However, this is Texas A&M. The one area you expose them is their secondary. So I think there's kind of little matchup confliction on both sides. South Carolina defense not any good. I would lean to A&M, but I don't want to lay 14. So I kind of think it's about right. So I haven't gotten involved here.
Hasn't really moved either. Didn't it open like 14? It hasn't moved at all. So I don't expect it to move too much. There's not going to be too many buyers on South Carolina after last week. Wake plus 20.5. Oh, the sleepy nooner for the Noles at the Quiet Stadium in the conference. This Florida State team, I do a show with another guy. He just says that they play with their food. It does look like that. There'll be a quarter where they look like a top 5 team and another quarter where I'm like, this is barely a top 25 team. I don't know with Santino Marucci. No, I can't get there. Are you?
No, and I agree. At Florida State, those criticisms are valid. I watched way too much of that Wake Pitt game. I'm not touching that one. To be honest with you, we would lean the other way for me, where Florida State just absolutely runs them out. So no, I'm not. I know people sleepy noon and all that, but I mean, I think Florida State could sleepwalk this way to a 21-point victory. So I'm not touching Wake.
Clemson, NC State. Maybe I'm glutton for punishment. I bet Clemson, not at 10, but a little earlier markets. I don't like this NC State team. I don't like it. I'm coming around. I went head to head with you against the MJ Moore stuff. I don't think he's that good. I'm not buying it.
And he's been super turnover prone so far. I think you can see the talent, but
Sport Trade, that's good. Get over to New Jersey -8.5, -115. I'll take that.
Wow, that is. I almost clicked 11. I didn't do it last night. Then by the time I was getting up and around the day, it was around 10. So I haven't gotten involved yet.
I think 10's the fair number, the right number.
I agree.
Connor in the chat, a few more guys, and we're going to sign off. Wisconsin +14.5, going to be at the game. Locke looked good, in the fourth quarter, but other than that, not against this Buckeye defense.
Yeah, not against this
Buckeyes
defense.
For us. Baylor versus Iowa State. Cyclones off a bye. Tout service. BP loves Iowa State. That was the play I gave out. Connor, Cal +11. We talked about that. We'll revisit that one on Friday. I don't know on that one. Connor also Texas State +6. This is an intriguing game in the West. Texas State and Troy, both off a bye. Did you bet this one? Texas State's tough because their game flows they look like the best team in the Sun Belt, and then they look like the team that had a 4-win total on the season.
Yep. No, I didn't. You know what? I agree. They've had such a high variance season. But Troy really has seemingly put it together, especially their defense, which I thought was underwhelming earlier in the year. Has had some great performances. I would at under 6, it'd be a small lean for Troy to me, but I haven't gotten there, and it's not one that I was really targeting.
Last one, then we'll recap the best bets. Brad, why is Maryland only laying 13.5? Am I missing something? I don't know. I bet it. I didn't think anything under 14. I like Maryland. Did you bet this one?
I did not, but I would lean that way as well. And to be honest with you, might fire that in. Actually, I think at under 14, that's the right side. I know Northwestern has covered for us, but I do think that, and I didn't see a Ben Bryant update. I do think there's a little bit of a downgrade to the quarterback there playing in Maryland. Gets them in a good spot here. I don't think Northwestern can give him as much trouble, be able maybe to keep up. So I like Maryland there. I'm going to bet that. So
best bet?
Yeah, you want to bet? You want to lock that in?
Yeah, we'll close out. For those that stuck with us here for the hour plus, Maryland -13.5, best bet here. I like it. I bet Maryland a couple times at 13. Off the bye, off the outright loss to Illinois. I think it's a good spot. And I don't know. Northwestern, we like them as a dog against some plodding Big Ten West teams.
Yes.
Not against a team that can air it out in Maryland. So Maryland gets margin, or at least enough. 2 touchdowns. We cover. All right. Best bet there. Speaking of best bets, let's recap them. We started the show off hot with some head-to-heads. Had a few best bets here. We started with the Monday morning show was Army -9.5. That's on me. So if it loses, blame me. Maryland, which we just gave out. We'll have some CLV here by the end of the show. Western Michigan -1.5. Little action there. Western Michigan in better form. North Texas +7.5 off a key number. We think that goes down, obviously. Ohio -7. We're playing against the Gabbert season-long injury. Miami out of steam, playing 9 straight weeks. All right, my man. Hate the portfolio to start the week, man.
The portfolio.
Picks. So that'll do it. For producer extraordinaire, Zach Phillips, for the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joey Knish. I'm merely Brad Powers. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button, guys, and following us on Twitter and X at Hit the Books HQ. That'll do it. We'll talk to you on Friday at 5.